There's a tanker that looks like it had an explosion on the N1, and we actually have somebody that was on site that I know, so I'm gonna call them just in a second so we can have a conversation with him. But also, we wanted to talk about all these things that are happening in this particular places and stuff like that. Does this mean God doesn't care? You know, with all these things that are happening. I wanted to play the particular part where he appears. You can actually hear him in the background, right here advising.
Guys, if we are going through N1, make a turn by Malibongwe, N1, approaching William Nicole, guys.
The white shirt.
Hey, guys, it will explode, guys. It's a
Okay, so might have to cut the part where it says that word.
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't like that. So we're going to call him just now and hear his experience when he was there. And I think that also comes into what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, does God see these things? Does God care about these things? What does the Bible say about this type of stuff? And you want to introduce us?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody, this is Kenneth Muller for Senior Your Truth on Trial with Ricky J right here. And this is an incredible time, man, with what we are going through as a people and as a country and everything. But I think such situations are an opportunity for us to look at God's sovereignty again.
Yeah.
Because when you go through a trial, the sovereignty of God becomes a pillow from which you lay your head. You only find rest, you know, in the fact that you know that God is in charge of the course of history, even if there are activities of evil, you know, with the that happened,
the tanker
earlier on under the bridge, and then this similar kind of situation,
it can build a
and
certain
all of that. You can have a sense of maybe abandonment. You know, you can question God's existence and all of that.
Yeah.
And this is where we literally have to look at the entirety of what the Bible teaches about God's sovereignty and why is it so important.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Before we go there,
I
wanted us to talk to this guy. We're going to call him.
No, do that.
I didn't tell him he's going to be on thingy, but and I won't say who it is.
It's better when it's spontaneous, man. Let's go.
So it's kind of an interesting one to actually get to talk to somebody. And what are the odds that we actually know someone on thingy? Hey, Chief. Not that bad. We're recording here and we are live with you, so don't say your name, don't say my other names. So we wanted to know what happened when you were at thingy.
No, let me. I was not alone because now I'm driving. Let me just give off why my colleague, he will just explain what happened.
Hey, Basa.
Hi, how are you?
No, it's all good, man. What happened today? You guys got caught up in a little bit of a situation there.
Yeah, man. So basically, we were driving down the highway, right? And then to our left, we see this driver, the tanker, the guy that was driving the tank, right? So it was as if the Audi, the other car on the lane on the left of him, was trying to go in, right? And I don't know if he was also like trying to push through, and then he ended up hitting that car on the right rear of the car, and then that car, and then after that the car tried to swerve away, and then he hit the back of that car, right? And then fortunately that car hit the brakes, because if it did, it was probably going to go rolling, right? And then as he was trying to move away, right, he tried to hard turn, and as it was hard turning, what happened was the tanker then flipped over, and then it tumbled, and then I think it then got a crack or something and started leaking. And the driver next to me was like, you know what, or if we don't just try and rush through this while this thing is leaking, we won't go, right? Because we have a job to do, right? So then he just drove through, and lucky enough, with God's grace, our car didn't catch on fire, and we were able to.
You guys were right next to it.
Excuse me?
You guys were right next to it.
Oh, mine.
We were right. We were there at the scene, before, after, during. We were there, past, present, future. We were watching it live.
Oh my God! Because I could just actually when I heard the voice over there, I was like, to the guys in the studio here. By the way, we are recording over at the Change Radio's studios. So thank you guys for having us over here. And I'm like, I know the voice. What are the odds
Yeah.
that I know the voice of one
This
of
is
the
so
people?
and so. I was actually shocked to say, my word.
Crazy.
You know, it's crazy.
So, but did anybody get hurt there? We hope everybody was okay.
You know what? I don't think anybody got hurt, right? Fortunately, nobody actually got hurt. Maybe they sustained some injuries, but there was no any type of extensive injuries from what we could see, right? But
Unknown
what we could
caller.
see was that right after that car then parked right next to us, because what happened was when he swerved, he was coming directly at us, and then we swerved the opposite direction. Then he parked there and we waited there, right? And then the other Audi was on the left side, and then we just swooshed through. Everybody stopped, and yeah. I don't think anybody sustained any type of serious injury though.
Yeah. Oh man, now that's good. I was just like, oh my goodness, these guys are right in the middle of it, and we should actually let's call them and hear what they have to say. And I thought, let's hear from you guys who were right there. And sometimes we get caught up by emotions because we are not there, and people going through it, they have a better experience of actually coming back to us and telling us what actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you know what? You're right, because, when you see this live, it's a completely different story, because now a lot's going in emotions, adrenaline, and you're thinking, what do I do? How do I, it's hard to stay focused and, to act immediately.
I saw
Yeah.
some guys actually were actually going in front, and I could hear him calling them and
Say,
saying,
"You move
hey,
away from
move
it."
back. That
Yeah.
thing is
Yeah,
gonna...
because, people are ready to take videos, and others are trying to get it to help others. And it's like they're not aware that, okay, there's like, this tanker there, and it could explode at any moment if
Yeah.
you're trying to pass through.
Yeah.
And it's a safety hazard. So he was just calling them, the guys, don't go there, it's going to explode.
Yeah, no, thanks to the guys for
Wow.
being a little bit more alert, man.
Sure.
Thanks for the intel, man.
No problem, sir, no problem.
Awesome stuff. We'll send you the link when we're done.
Yeah, so
Yes,
here's
man.
the thing. You see, evil does not have some sort of ontological existence.
Yeah.
Evil is not a thing. It is the absence of a good thing.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? When you remove the good thing, what you have left is what? Is evil.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we call hell and heaven.
Yeah.
What is hell? Hell is a place where the presence of Jesus is not.
Yeah.
And heaven is heaven because of the presence of Jesus.
Yeah.
If you remove the presence of Jesus out of heaven, it ceases to become heaven.
Now another thing,
know what I
again, we Christian, we're going to podcast now.
Yeah.
So we Christian Bible speakers. So we see the world in that world. You don't be offended if you're thinking.
No.
It's just a way that we look at the world and the way we frame the world. Now, this is where the question comes in. Does this mean God is abandoned the world? Which is the mindset that someone might have to say, I've seen this. Like, I have the emotions of being attached to the person who was there.
Who was there?
But he
Yeah.
is going through the experience as a person who's experiencing.
Yeah. And the emotional expression would be, but I love these people so much. Why would you allow them to go through this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I loved what he said. He said that nobody got hurt. That in itself could be an opportunity to actually see God's grace.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
But also,
The
those that want to go there and help. It's people that are trying to make sure that everybody
is all right.
is all right.
Yeah.
And also, someone is going through this at a different scale. Someone has a camera. Sometimes we always look at the people with the cameras who are recording it. Without those people, without the cameras, we won't know what
We will not
happened.
know what actually happened.
So sometimes people are facing the same situation in different viewpoints. But there's another thing that I wanted to kind of note too. We live in a fallen world.
Yeah, in the fallen world.
And that's kind of an important perspective to kind of go to before you approach everything else, because
Yeah.
it tells you why the evil happens. Errors, human error gets involved. And in human error is where we see, we perceive the devil in the human
And there are casualties with error as well sometimes,
Yeah.
Somebody can do mistakes that cost people their life. You know what I mean?
It's not God.
It's not God. It's just
the human.
fallenness. Fallenness. And because we live in a fallen world, even the Bible says that Satan is the God of this world. And why is he the God of this world? Because it's in a place where people are in their fallen state and they're informed by evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like you can sit here, right?
Yeah.
Have all this gear on the table.
That's right.
And have a glass of water. That's why in ministry, they don't even allow you to have anything that's
Yeah.
liquid on thing. You put a glass here,
Yeah.
and you don't mean to knock
no.
the glass.
Yeah.
It's error. The same way that person who's just trying to capture that particular moment that they're going through. I'm facing this. So they're trying to capture it with the camera or whatnot.
To make a reflection maybe later on.
Like, oh my goodness, I went
Yeah.
through this. We realize the importance of this type of
Yeah.
memories and what
Yeah.
they mean to people that
Exactly.
are connected to us.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this
At
moment.
the same time, somebody's going through something by looking at somebody capturing without helping.
Yeah.
You know, so
So there's all of that.
Yeah.
And so in the heat of that moment, there can be an introduction of human error.
yeah,
A
absolutely.
person has gone too far and not know where to stop to a point where you have put yourself in error. It wasn't God
No,
who
no,
put you
no.
there,
No.
but there was that point of
Yeah.
I gotta preserve this
Yeah.
moment. Sometimes when we are looking at the world, we forget the fallen nature, and that's where the
I
doctrine,
love that.
the doctrine that addresses the fall of man,
Yeah.
becomes very important
Hamashiology, the study of sin. Yeah.
because it kind of covers the aspect, the viewpoint of why do we have the evil. It's human error. There's the fallen nature.
I like that. I like that. Because now that speaks to some of these human proclivities that we have to say, how can we go this far into evil and find ourselves in trouble and we can't even help it?
Yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
feels like I should be able to
You
hold
know,
myself
it's
back.
like something is driving you to extremity, you know. One error produces another form of error, and that error produces another form of evil, and that evil produces that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think sanctification becomes important, because in the process of God working on all of us, some things you find yourself avoiding and not finding yourself in evil situations, not because you're perfect, but simply because it was the presence of the good of God in you that helped you not to find yourself in a place of, you know, in evil situations, you know. So I think, number one, God is training his children. And number two, our faith is being tested. Suffering also has a way of drawing us closer to God, because then you ask yourself questions that you have never taken time to ask yourself. Then we see God's favor. I mean, such a situation can cause a lot of people to lose their life.
Or work.
But or even work, or even companies, a lot of money and all of that. So if that is contained, we see God's favor, we see God's mercy. You know what I mean? It is also a path to salvation, because somebody might be thinking right now, what if I was behind this truck and then what happened with the entire flammable situation?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to use the other words, isn't it? Now, when that happens, you ask yourself, what if I didn't have a chance
To actually make the decision.
to actually make a decision to receive Christ or Jesus as my Lord and Savior? You understand? So sometimes God can put you in situations for revelation. It was not that God wanted you to experience evil or God wanted to harm you. No, he says, I have good plans for you. Plans not to harm you, but to actually what?
Bring good to you.
Being good to you. And trust me, salvation is God's greatest good.
And also, remember when he says our thoughts are not his thoughts.
Yeah.
And so when I'm thinking God meant this for evil, he's thinking completely different, right?
Different.
This was his response
Yeah.
to the evil that mankind had brought into the world. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you might not agree with it, but at least hear it and understand what we mean by it. We mean there was all this evil that is now presently here,
that's
we're
right.
experiencing, but at the same time, let's remember he did his ultimate good hand. He stretched his hand.
There was sovereignty at work and his providence at work.
Now, you might not understand why Jesus dies, but acknowledge that it had happened. And that's the whole thing with when Jesus is going through the cross, you see Pilate, the whole thing of Pilate declaring Jesus innocent and washing his hands. Why? Because the Jews refused to acknowledge his innocence. Because remember, before you actually put the the Passover lambs sacrificed to death, you had to take it through a 7-day trial session.
True.
And you go back on what we call that week? Passion Week.
The Passion Week.
But we don't think, why was it Passion
Yeah.
Week? Messiah walked into the city for 7 days to be examined. So, and guess what he does spend that 7 day doing? Interacting with them. Doctrine.
He's asked questions and he's given them answers.
Yeah,
And
this guy's hand is shriveled. Should I
literally, truth was on trial. Come on, talk to me.
which
now.
is what which is what we are here doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so he put the truth forward and says,
Yeah.
you want to make a judgment on my innocence? This is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he spent 7 days doing that.
Yeah.
And they still did not want to declare him innocent.
Yeah.
Then there's the situation when he goes back into the temple. This guy comes up to him. Oh, tell us, are you the Son of God? And he
Yeah.
says, I've told you, but you will not believe.
No,
because
you
what?
don't want to receive it.
You don't want to receive it. And so it's very clear that we
Yeah.
are distant and far from the truth. You
Yeah.
might not accept it,
That is
but
true.
acknowledge it when it's in your presence.
Oh, that's beautiful,
The
man.
same way you get to appreciate a certain moment when you're holding your camera, you're watching your child take the first steps. There's a beauty to that you're capturing. Acknowledge the beauty that God has done
Yeah.
when He sent
Yeah.
His Son
Yeah.
for us. We see the evil of the world. We've spoken
We see
about
all
it,
of that.
expose it and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Wow.
You don't like
Wow.
the Bible. You don't like the gospel. It's fine. But
Yeah.
acknowledge. the hand.
Acknowledge it. Now, I find that to be quite interesting. You know what you said that actually reminded me of when he was before, is it Pilate or something?
Yeah.
And then he asked the question, what is
Truth.
truth? What is the truth?
Yeah.
And the Bible says Jesus was quiet, and I believe theologically, the question was wrong. It is not what is the truth, it is who is the truth. Because Jesus is the person of truth. You know, he doesn't have truth. He himself is the truth. And that's why if you remove him out of theological truth, we call that subjective theology. It is already wrong.
I can question.
Yeah. You know what I mean? What makes theology objective as it is because at the center of it, it is a person. And this person is unquestionable. He's God's ultimate revelation. If you have him at the center, then everything makes sense.
And another thing that kind of tells us that is God didn't need my counsel in order to make me.
No.
That's how sovereign He is.
No.
You know, you don't like it, it's okay.
Yeah.
But understand what His place is.
Oh, man.
So I thought that was quite an interesting one for us to have a conversation about. And I'm very much happy to hear that nobody got hurt. Yes,
Yeah.
we'll get the reports later on
Absolutely.
about what happened and everything. And we're praying for your guys if your company went through some difficulty and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, may God help you.
I'm
and
in the
strengthen.
energy space. I know the price, man. It comes with such a thing.
For a
losing it.
tanker. Yeah. Oh,
It's painful.
Yeah. How am I almost forgetting that you are in that industry?
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of loss to have on thing, and also
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
driver, and also notice that it's error. It can happen to anybody,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, Ricky, this is a church reality check, and on this particular video, that's what we wanted to talk about. Tell us your thoughts. Have you been through such a thing? What testimonies did you come out with?
Yeah.
A family member. How was it? How's that emotion? You know, we called him earlier on just to kind of like alert him that I'm going to call him in a minute.
Yeah.
He was hype.
Yeah, I couldn't even help it.
He was hype.
You even had to say, hey, come down, I'll call you
Come
later.
down, I'll call you in a second. Don't tell me. So I didn't want him to tell me what happened.
Yeah.
Because when you put him on the call, then he would forget that thing. And
Yeah.
also, I'd like to salute him. He understands the rules of being focused. I
Yeah.
think he gave
Yeah.
it. He gave his the
Exactly,
phone to-
because he knew this guy understands
The
you
importance
know,
of
the
safety.
importance of safety. And
So salute to him.
No,
We didn't have to
appreciate
tell him
that.
that. We
Appreciate
didn't have
that.
to tell him that. But
Yeah.
with the more you become alert, sometimes we become very offended with each other on social media. While literally the phone, sometimes that person is not aware. You notify them. Hey, man, just get off your phone because you might get bumped by a car or you might get into thingy. And so it helps for us to grow
Yeah.
each other
Absolutely.
into that state of maturity.
And for him reporting to people online, don't use this road.
yeah,
That's also, something commendable.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. And also there's apps, by the way. There's all these apps that do that show you if there's a hazard somewhere else, and they report. And you might know one of those apps put it down in the comment section. I remember one where you can actually report that there is an accident or so.
Oh man, I need to be clued up. I don't know, man.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I need help.
So it might help when you're driving. Yes, you don't need the GPS, but it might help to have that app open so that it can alert you on roads that might delay your meeting and so forth.
True.
Guys, thank you very much for checking out this channel. Thank you for the Change Radio for having us. We're going to be seeing more of us over here.
Yeah.
This just happened like an hour ago, and we happened to just see it.
We just had to sit down and literally record.
And we didn't have enough time to even think about what else. We're having the conversation as we go, which is the beauty of this kind of type of conversation. It's Ricky, and we'd love to thank the cameraman over there and everybody else at the Change Radio.
Studio,
Y'all have a good one. It's Ricky. Subscribe. Be good.